In my hands here, we have the three best action cameras currently available: the Insta360 Ace Pro 2, DJI Action 5 Pro, and GoPro Hero 13. And today, we are going to see how they stack up against each other. Now, to make this fun, I have devised a range of categories to compare these action cameras against each other, including image quality, low light performance, audio quality, and more. And for each category, we will award 2 points to the winner and 1 for the runner-up. Then at the end, we can tally up the score and see which of these action cameras comes out on top. Now, for full transparency, I was sent the DJI Action 5 Pro and the Insta360 Ace Pro 2 to test, so this is a sponsored video. And the GoPro Hero 13 I purchased myself. Alright, let's dive straight in and take a look at the image quality. Now, both the DJI Action 5 Pro and the new Insta360 Ace Pro 2 feature next-gen 1/1.3-inch sensors, with the GoPro Hero 13 lagging behind with a smaller 1/1.9-inch sensor. However, when it comes to the highest available resolution, the new Ace Pro 2 can record at up to 8K 30 FPS, whereas the GoPro has a max resolution of 5.3K and the Action 5 Pro can only record at up to 4K. This difference in available resolutions makes a massive impact on the detail of the image. Zooming in on this clip, if you look specifically at the writing around the top of this building, you can see a huge difference in quality between the Action 5 Pro and the new Ace Pro 2, for example. So in terms of resolution, that's 2 points for the Ace Pro 2 and 1 for the GoPro Hero 13. Next, let's take a look at the colours and clarity of the clips captured, and these differ quite a bit between the three cameras. Worth noting that what looks best in terms of image colours is completely subjective. We all have different preferences, but in my opinion, when capturing in the normal colour mode, I have noticed that the Action 5 Pro has a lower saturation and contrast compared to the other two, and this gives the footage captured on it a more washed out appearance. It also generally outputs video with a cooler appearance with a stronger focus on the blues, and also compared to the other two cameras, it has a tendency to expose darker, and this can sometimes lead to the image being slightly too dark, as in this example here. Whereas, if we take a look at the GoPro Hero 13, generally it's the opposite and has the brightest image out of the three. However, for image colour, the GoPro seems to add a faint yellow hue to most of the clips it captures, with the yellows and greens seemingly getting a saturation boost. Out of the three, the new Ace Pro 2 has the most desirable image in terms of brightness, saturation and contrast, and in my opinion gives the most true-to-life image. It also has the most balanced lighting, and this is especially apparent if you're using it for vlogging, as you can set the metering mode to face priority, which will ensure the camera prioritizes your face when setting the brightness. So I'm going to award the Ace Pro 2 2 points for that reason, with the Action 5 Pro getting 1 point as the runner-up for having the second best looking image in my opinion. I personally don't like the yellow hue that the GoPro footage has. Now you will notice that all of these shots have an HDR-like appearance to them, and this is even without using the HDR mode. This is most unnatural looking on the Action 5 Pro, which seems to have the most aggressive processing being applied to its footage. It's very much apparent when you are capturing a scene with a bright sky. In this example, you can see the Hero 13 and Ace Pro 2 naturally blow out the highlights, but the Action 5 Pro adds this fake looking blue sky, which isn't representative of what you can naturally see in real life. I have also noticed that the Action 5 occasionally turns things like white clouds more of a washed out grey colour, and again this looks quite unnatural. Speaking of HDR, all of these cameras have an HDR mode, but the Action 5 Pro and Hero 13 now have HLG or Hybrid Log Gamma HDR, which is basically a better version of the standard HDR that the Ace Pro 2 has. The Ace Pro 2 also doesn't have 10-bit colour, a luxury that the other two cameras have. However, it has now been upgraded to include a new log profile called iLog. Log profiles are now available on all three cameras and provide flatter looking footage, allowing the action camera to capture more detail in the highlights and shadows, giving you greater flexibility when colour grading in post-production. Looking at this example, you can see both the new iLog profile on the Ace Pro 2 and the GoPro Hero 13 log profile are true flat color profiles, whereas the Action 5 Pro uses D-Log M, which as you can see does still contain a fair amount of saturation for a flat color mode. Although a nice feature of the Action 5 is the ability to enable color recovery. When this is turned on and recording in D-Log M, the display will have a color grade applied to it, and this is to help you see a better representation of what the footage you are capturing will look like once color graded, but it will still output and save that flatter D-Log M video to the memory card. Overall, I think deciding between these three when it comes to color modes is like splitting hairs with no true winner, so I'm going to award 1 point to each. Now before moving on, if you're getting value from this video, please let me know by giving me the thumbs up and clicking that like button down below. And if you love all things action cameras, but also drones, gimbals and more, and want to learn about the best settings to get up and running quickly, along with tips and tricks to help you get more cinematic videos and better looking images with your gear, then please consider clicking that subscribe button down below. And when you're down there, be sure to check the notification bell so that you will be alerted when my new videos are released. It would be greatly appreciated. When it comes to zooming, this is possible on all three of these cameras, with the Action 5 Pro and Ace Pro 2 allowing up to 2 times zoom when recording in 4K, and the GoPro up to 1.4 times zoom when capturing in 5.1K or 4K. These are all digital zooms though, so they are simply cropping in on that image. However, because the Ace Pro 2 has an 8K capable sensor, zooming up to 2 times still results in a 4K resolution image, which again when placed side by side with the Action 5 and Hero 13 results in a much sharper image. For that reason, the Ace Pro 2 clearly wins this category, getting 2 points, with the Action 5 Pro getting 1 point for having a higher zoom level than the GoPro at max resolution. Now let's quickly take a look at the built-in stabilization, and all three of these cameras have this pretty well dialed in. Comparing them, they all look very stable. Looking at this example of me running with them handheld and importantly not using a gimbal, it's hard to really see any differences between them. All cameras feature 2 levels of stabilization, a standard level suitable for moderate activity, and a higher level, which will be useful if you're doing something much more adventurous like mountain biking. In the case of stabilization, I'm going to award 1 point to each camera as they all perform very similar. All three cameras can also record at up to 4K 120fps slow motion, and in my opinion the Ace Pro 2 footage has the best image quality, with the Action 5 being the worst. Again, you can see the colour temperature is just overly cold. Moving up a level, these cameras can also record at 240fps, but there is differences in the max resolutions available. With the Action 5 and Ace Pro 2, you can only record at 1080p when using 240fps, whereas with the GoPro Hero 13, you can actually capture the same frame rate at a higher resolution of 2.7K, and this will result in more detail when using that higher slow motion mode. Now diving in further, the Hero 13 and Action 5 have more unique slow motion modes available to them. So starting with the Hero 13, a brand new feature is the new Burst slow motion mode, where you can shoot at up to 5.3K 120fps or ultra slow motion 360 or 400fps, although just be aware these do reduce the resolution to 720p and 900p respectively. The Osmo Action 5 Pro, on the other hand, can output 960fps slow motion, but unlike the GoPro, this super slow motion is something you apply to an already captured clip on the camera itself and can take a little bit of time to generate depending on the length of the clip. However, the results are very impressive. As you can see, again, each of these action cameras has individual strengths when it comes to slow motion, with the Ace Pro 2 having the best image, the GoPro allowing up to 400fps to be recorded natively, and the Action 5 to output up to 960fps if you're happy to wait for it to process. So for that reason, I'm again going to award 1 point to each. When it comes to taking photos with these cameras, you can capture in either JPEG or RAW with all three. And putting the images side by side, you can see they feature the same color characteristics as we previously discussed, but in terms of quality, there is also a difference. The Hero 13 images are 27 megapixels, the Action 5 images are 40 megapixels, and the new Ace Pro 2 bumps that up even further, capturing highly detailed 50 megapixel images. Based on megapixels alone, I will give the Ace Pro 2 2 points and the Action 5 Pro 1 point. All three cameras also have the ability to choose in-camera fields of view, ranging from a linear or standard D-warp view that appears the most natural with little to no distortion, perfect for vlogging, all the way up to an ultra-wide field of view, better for capturing action scenes. Looking at a comparison using the widest field of view settings on these cameras, and you can see that the Ace Pro 2's action view is definitely the widest, and this is no doubt due to the new wide-angle lens, which not only is now removable, but increases the field of view from 151 degrees up to 157 degrees. Now, using these widest field of views will result in distortion, especially at the sides of the image. To help with this, the Ace Pro 2 also has a new Mega View mode, which helps reduce distortion at the edges of the image. In this category, I think the clear winner is the Ace Pro 2, getting 2 points, with the Action 5 Pro and Hero 13 having similar functionality, so they get awarded half a point each. Next, it's worth pointing out that the minimum focus distance on the Ace Pro 2, which was an issue with the previous model, has been improved for better close-ups when vlogging. However, when it comes to shooting macro or extreme close-up clips, these cameras still struggle. With that said, the Hero 13 Black can be used with the all-new GoPro macro lens mod, and this allows you to manually change the focus distance from anywhere between 11cm to 75cm in front of the camera. Now, while this can be fun to use, it's worth noting that this is an additional accessory and it's not cheap. I also have concerns with the forwards compatibility and future-proofing of such an accessory, but we will talk more about that later. With that being said, due to the new lens mod, the GoPro comes out on top, getting 2 points. And because the Ace Pro 2 and Action 5 Pro now have essentially the same minimum focus distance, they get awarded 1 point each. Now, thanks to the new sensor and processor on the Ace Pro 2, we see big benefits when it comes to image quality in low light. The Ace Pro 2 also now comes with a new Pure Video Plus low light recording mode. Looking at this comparison, you can clearly see the GoPro performs the worst, with the Action 5 performing respectably. However, to my eye, its low light mode applies too much digital sharpening. However, in terms of brightness and detail, the Ace Pro 2 is by far the best. For this reason, it gets 2 points, with the Action 5 getting 1 point as the runner-up. Now, if you're planning to use any of these cameras for vlogging, then equally as important is the audio quality. And in this regard, the new Ace Pro 2 introduces a super useful new feature. This is the first action camera to come with an integrated wind guard to minimize wind noise when recording outdoors. It also comes with new advanced audio algorithms, including a wind reduction mode to further minimize wind noise during activity such as skiing or cycling, and a voice enhancement mode which lowers background noise to make voices clearer and more defined, perfect for vlogging. Now, these audio algorithms are not unique to this camera, as the GoPro Hero 13 also introduced what it called audio tuning with standard and voice audio tuning. So let's now do a quick audio test outdoors to see what these different action cameras with their different recording modes sound like. This is what the Insta360 Ace Pro 2 sounds like using the wind reduction audio recording mode and a light breeze. This is what the Insta360 Ace Pro 2 sounds like using the stereo audio recording mode and a light breeze. And this is what the DJI Action 5 Pro sounds like. Now, there's no specific audio tuning settings on this camera, and there is a light breeze. This is what the GoPro Hero 13 sounds like using the standard audio tuning mode and a light breeze. This is what the GoPro Hero 13 sounds like using the voice audio tuning mode and a light breeze. Now, listening back to those tests, and again, this is subjective, but to my ear and with my voice, I definitely think the Action 5 Pro sounds the clearest and best, with the Ace Pro 2 coming in a very close second. However, the Ace Pro 2 will perform much better on windier days due to that built-in windshield, and the GoPro definitely sounds the least clear regardless of which audio tuning setting you are using. Now, all these cameras also have the capability to wirelessly connect to a Bluetooth microphone, such as the DJI Mic 2 or Rode Wireless Pro. However, the DJI Action 5 Pro is the only action camera that allows you to connect two transmitters at once. In this category, due to the better sounding audio from the internal microphone and the additional wireless mic functionality, the Action 5 Pro gets awarded 2 points, with the Ace Pro 2 coming in a close second, getting a single point. Now, aside from the image and audio quality, which are the primary factors for comparing these cameras, each one also offers unique features that distinguish them from one another. And let's start with the newest of the 3 cameras, the Ace Pro 2. Firstly, this camera features a flip-up screen, perfect for framing yourself when vlogging or for getting creative angles. As mentioned earlier, the Ace Pro 2 now also features a detachable lens, which was badly needed. So now if you accidentally damage the lens, you can easily replace it. And it's the only action camera in this comparison that lets you choose between matrix and face priority metering. Again, this is very helpful and it will help make sure you are properly exposed in difficult lighting situations. New to the Ace Pro 2 is also the ability to include activity stats from your smartphone directly onto your videos using the Insta360 app. So you can include things like speed, distance, elevation, and acceleration without needing extra equipment. Lastly, just like the old model, this camera comes with a few convenient features such as the ability to pause and cancel a recording, something still not available on the other 2. Next, let's talk about the also new DJI Action 5 Pro, which also comes with a few exciting unique features. Arguably, the best new upgrade to this camera is the 46GB of built-in storage, 47 of which are available to use. This will hold around roughly 2 hours of 4K footage, so if you forget a microSD card, your day won't be ruined. Another big new feature on the Action 5 Pro is something called subject tracking. This will automatically crop the video to always keep you or the subject you're videoing in the center of the frame. The Action 5 Pro also comes with a built-in pressure gauge that can detect and display depth and altitude, and it can also start and stop recording when it detects itself being placed under or removed from water. One feature I really appreciate on the Action 5 Pro is its incredibly fast startup time. Unlike the other 2 cameras, it powers on almost instantly, while the other 2 have a slight delay before they're ready to use. Now for the GoPro, who unfortunately still appear to be lagging behind the competition, with this latest model primarily introducing features already seen on the other 2, such as improvements to the quick capture function, which is where you press the record button to both power on and start recording at the same time. Now the camera provides a 5-second window after stopping the recording to either start a new recording or to press the mode button to keep the camera powered on. The Hero 13 also catches up to the competition by introducing a magnetic quick release to its mounting system. This is in addition to the standard mounting fingers, which fold out, meaning unlike the other 2 action cameras, you can attach a mount that uses a thumb screw without the need of another additional mount. There is also a 1/4-20 mounting thread at the bottom, again something not seen on the other 2, that will allow you to directly attach accessories such as a selfie stick. The Hero 13 is also the only action camera in this comparison that has built-in GPS, enabling the camera to record speed, path, terrain, altitude, and G-force, which can be overlaid on your videos using the Quick app. The most exciting part of the new Hero 13, however, is the ecosystem that GoPro has created with the new lenses available. Now you can pick up an ultra-wide, a macro, an anamorphic, and a new set of ND filters. And the nice thing is, when using the ND filters, that the GoPro can automatically detect them once fitted, so the camera settings are automatically adjusted when the lenses and filters are attached. This is something completely unique to GoPro that DJI and Insta360 have not included in their cameras. Now these lenses are really well made, it has to be said, but they're also not cheap. And if you're picking this camera up with a few additional lenses and filters, the cost can become outrageously high pretty quickly. My biggest concern, however, is the backwards and forwards compatibility of these accessories when you invest in this ecosystem. These lenses and filters do not work with the previous models of the GoPro, and this unfortunately also goes for the new design battery. This means that if you are upgrading from an older model, all the spare batteries you have purchased cannot be used. And I personally fear this will be the same story with the filters, with future models of the GoPro not being backwards compatible with the expensive filters and lenses you have purchased. So, as you can see, each of these cameras brings something unique to the table, but for me personally, I find that the Ace Pro 2 has the most usable unique features, such as the flip-up screen and the ability to pause or cancel a recording, so I am awarding it 2 points. The runner-up is the Action 5 Pro, thanks to its internal storage and subject tracking, gaining 1 point in this comparison. Now, speaking of batteries, thankfully both the new Ace Pro 2 and Action 5 Pro are compatible with the previous generation's batteries, unlike the GoPro. However, although the new batteries are the same shape, they do both feature an increase in capacity, so using the newer available batteries for these two models will improve runtimes. Speaking of which, after testing these cameras out over the past few weeks, I found that the Action 5 Pro had the best battery life, running on average for about 3 hours when capturing at 4K 30fps, and I had no overheating issues. I also experienced 0 overheating issues with the Ace Pro 2, but did experience overheating twice with the GoPro. Also worth noting that the Ace Pro 2 and Action 5 Pro support fast charging, something still not available on the GoPro. For points in this category, I'm awarding 2 points to the Action 5 Pro for the longest battery life, and 1 point to the Ace Pro 2 for being the runner-up and also supporting fast charging. So in conclusion, you can see that each action camera has strengths and weaknesses, and honestly, you can't go wrong with any of them. But looking at the fully totaled scoreboard after all these comparisons, the new Ace Pro 2 appears to be the best all-rounder, and most importantly, has the highest resolution and best image quality. If I had to spend my hard-earned money on any of these three, it would be on the Ace Pro 2. So, there you have it, a full comparison of the 3 best action cameras currently available. If you would like to find out more about the new Insta360 Ace Pro 2, DJI Action 5 Pro, or the GoPro Hero 13, or pick them up, I will put links in the description down below where you can do just that. Now before you go, if you liked this video and you learned something new, please let me know by giving me the thumbs up and clicking that like button down below. And if you love all things action cameras, but also drones, gimbals and more, and want to know how to get better images and more cinematic videos with your gear, then I recommend you check out my channel where I have a ton of other content to help you level up your game. And if you don't want to miss any of my upcoming videos, then please remember to click that subscribe button down below, and when you're down there, be sure to check the notification bell so that you will be alerted when my new videos are released. It would be greatly appreciated. And if you want to stick around and watch a few more now, here's a few I personally recommend. I'll not keep you back any further. Thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you over there.